Namaste. Sat Sri Akal, Assalamu Alaikum. Welcome to Yin practice. So our practice of Yin today is working with the full moon in Cancer energy. So we've got a full moon tonight, and this practice of Yin is going to be working with the element of water. Water is the most yin-like element in that it's cool, it's fluid, it sort of permeates and reaches the most hidden crevices. And this full moon in Cancer, Cancer is a sun sign that's in the element of water, Jal. And so this is bringing the full moon in Cancer together with the element of water in our Yin practice. And under this full moon, there's an invitation to draw in, retreat, to move into the inner spaces of the mind, the heart, the spirit, the inner workings of the self, those dream-like spaces which are in our deepest subconscious or unconscious states. And through this process of drawing in into a reflective space, we can find illumination. Cancer is the sign of deep emotional awareness and attunement to our feelings. The mudra that we're going to adopt is the Ida mudra. The Ida channel of energy runs through the body. And it is this channel of energy that draws in the power and the essence of the moon itself. So bringing the tip of the thumb and the ring finger together of both hands, then place the left hand just below the navel, near the Swadhisthana chakra, and then the right hand at the heart or the Manipur chakra. The right hand is palm face down, the left hand is palm face up. And our other fingers are gently extended. Closing your eyes and drawing into this space. And perhaps here in this space between the two hands, you visualize the full moon as if you're holding the sphere of the moon here. It's radiant light permeating your being. This sense of coolness and stillness here. The light of the moon, the element of water, nourishes, heals, has an intuitive quality, a quality to which we can surrender with calm and serenity. Three breaths here, my friends. And then we'll open by chanting Om 3 times. And for each Om, let's offer one to the moon, one to the great bodies of water, rivers, seas, oceans. From the smallest raindrop to the greatest body of water, the ocean. And then one Om to the self and the loved ones that are held within the heart of the self. Om. 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 Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamida Udachyate. Om. 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 Releasing the vibrations of the Om, the primordial sound of the universe. We're going to start with a practice called Chandra Bedi or Chandra Bediana Pranayam. This is the lunar breath. And we're going to breathe in and out of the left nostril to connect us to the great energy of the moon. So taking your dominant hand and folding in the peace fingers, that's the index and the middle finger, and leaving the thumb, the ring and little fingers extended, so of your dominant hand. And then let's cover the right nostril. The other hand you can bring into your Ida Mudra by bringing the thumb and ring finger together. We're going to breathe in and out through the left nostril. When you're ready, take a full breath in from the left nostril to the third eye. Hold the breath there momentarily and then exhale left nostril. Breathing in and out of the left. And if your left nostril is blocked for any reason, take the peace fingers of the other hand and pull out the cheek of that left nostril side. And that should open up the passageway slightly. Inhaling, perhaps you add a count. Perhaps inhaling for the count of 3. Pausing momentarily, exhaling for the count of 6. Or perhaps you inhale for the count of 4. And exhale for the count of 8. So doubling the exhale. Whichever pattern you choose, whether it's 3 and 6 or 4 and 8. And pause momentarily between at the top of the in-breath and the bottom of the out-breath. In for 4 or 3, how you choose. Momentarily pausing for exhaling for double the number. 8 or 6. 3 more here, in and out of the left nostril, my friends. And the Chandra is the Sanskrit word for the moon. Our mantra for our practices today is Om Som Somaya Namaha, drawing upon the amber, the nectar, the healing essence of the full moon in Cancer. Cancer is the sign for which caregiving, care, receiving, the healing energy, compassion with which we support, protect, and care for others, which enables us to find healing in the loving relationships that we offer one another for our loved ones, our intimate partners, our community. When you've released your count, let's take full breath in through both nostrils, out through both nostrils, releasing the breath. Let's come to standing. We're going to start by doing some tapping. And then we're thinking about when we work with aspect of the moon. So we're working with full moon in Cancer. We think of the element associated with the sign And then we think about the meridians and the organs or the energy pathways that are associated with the element of water. So in traditional Chinese medicine, the organs that are associated with, no surprise to you, are the bladder and the kidney. So let's start by tapping for the kidney. So the kidney starts at the base of the foot. So let's do some gentle tapping at the base of one foot. And you can use your folded fingers, so the base of the foot, and then we're going to work along the inner arch to the inner ankle, and all the way along the inner leg. So you can see I'm standing here with the figure of 4, which is really perfect for tracing the kidney along the medial aspect of the, and it travels up into the groin and then through the midline here. And so there's an outer, so the primary path, which is here towards the abdomen, and then there's an inner path, which will be traveling in towards the bladder, the kidneys, and then the middle of the back. So we'll travel up the middle here, coming to the clavicle here. And then the other pathway we're going to follow now is the bladder. So the bladder starts at the inner eye, and then up the center of the forehead, top of the head, down the posterior aspect of the head and the hairline, and down the back. And then the buttocks. And so now we're going to travel around the back of the legs here. So we travel all the way down towards the feet and the outer edge of the foot all the way to the little toe. And I've just stubbed my little toe earlier today as I was preparing for our class. So I have quite a sore little toe. So now we traveled up the one side for the kidney. So let's travel up the other side for the kidney now. So go to the base of the other foot, the sole of the other foot. And then gentle tapping at the base, on the inner arch, along the inner ankle, the inner calf, the inner knee, inner thigh, all the way up to the groin. And again, if you want now, you can travel to the kidneys here at the back. And then to the midline and up to the clavicle. And then one more time, let's work from the inner eye to the forehead, over the top of the head, back of the neck, and so the shoulders down the spine, and the buttocks, and then the back of the legs, back of the knees, back of the calves, outer edges of the foot, all the way to the little toe. So that's tracing the kidney and the bladder meridians. The urinary bladder meridians are associated with the element of water. So once we've sort of awakened up these energy channels, which will help to transmit and communicate with the energy of the moon, we're going to come into a dangling forward fold. So take your feet hip distance wide and have a soft bend in your knees. We're working the back line. So in terms of our myofascial area, we're working along the back for the urinary bladder. So hinge from the hips and then fold forward and allow your head to dangle here. So this is why it's sometimes called dangling pose. And if you can hear some rattling noise, that's my earrings against my earpod, which I love wearing. So dangling here, allowing the upper body to feel heavy. Now your arms can hang down. If your arms are too long, i.e. they hit the floor, not too long. I mean, your arms are your average size arms for your body. But I mean, if they're too long now, as you reach down and they hit the floor, let's take hold of opposite elbows. And have this sense of, with the out breath, release the upper body down towards the earth here. So working with, and also when you're in this forward fold shape here, this asana with the back of the heart open. And often we will protect the heart, we will protect the inner heart by enclosing in like this. When we think of the crab and the sign of Cancer and this outer shell that protects, that guards the more vulnerable, sensitive inner self. And when we're in this full moon, it is an invitation to perhaps soften and create openings in that shell so that you may form connections, emotional connections, or so that your emotions, like water, can surface. You may feel more tearful. Your feelings may be in turmoil, sort of very strong emotion surfacing, and then this urge to want to contain those emotions. Well, this is a time to unleash, release those emotions that express yourself with compassion towards others, that reveal your vulnerabilities so that you can speak and express your needs. From forward fold here, we're going to come directly onto my knees, friends, into child's pose. So for your child's pose here, take what support you might need. So if you want to place a cushion or a pillow underneath your eyebrow center, please do. Take your arms alongside your body, palms face up. Your eyebrow center resting on the earth. Again, the back line here is open, extending through the spine. It's probably my family calling me because it's the full moon in Cancer. This is a time to be with family, to gather in our homes with our loved ones. Here in child's pose, soften, allow yourself to feel heavy. Om Som Somaya Namaha, bathe in the radiant moon, the nourishing, hydrating, enriching rays of this full moon that's associated with nourishment, with healing. Healing of our emotions, of our feelings, of all of the things that we experience deep within, perhaps upon which we do not shed light. From here, my friends, we're going to move into threading needles. So inhale, lift the crown as if you're being drawn up towards the moon with your crown. Reach up with your arms. Let's bring the thumb to the index finger. Thumb to the ring finger, so we're connected with our Ida Mudra. And then exhale, thread the right arm across the heart and then fold forward and come onto your right shoulder and right ear. Your knees can be together. If this doesn't feel comfortable, you can take your knees wide and have the big toes together. This gives your belly a bit more space. So feel that fullness of the belly. Then create space for this fullness. This left arm is extended along the earth. If you wish to bring in a little more support, you can take your left arm and place the back of the hand, the back of the lower forearm onto your kidneys. You can even turn your hands around and place your hand on your kidneys. Perhaps in one kidney area first and then the other kidney area. Giving it some warmth here. Under this moon, it's time for us to connect with this inner guidance. So let's think about how the quality of water and how it travels around the body, how it travels around the earth and reaches every aspect. Water is soft and yielding, yet it is also strong and can penetrate. In this way, under this full moon, the penetrative qualities of the element of water helps us to know ourselves more deeply, more honestly, more truthfully, reaching the parts of the self that perhaps hitherto have been hidden. From here, my friends, I'm going to release that left arm from the lower back and then inhale, rise up with both arms up towards the sky, as if you are holding the full moon itself. You can take your gaze up with you, with your thumb and ring finger connected to Nidra Mudra. You're channeling the lunar energies here, the wisdom of the moon itself directly into your being. Exhale, let's take the left arm across the heart and fold down. Bring the left ear to the cushion or the earth or the left shoulder. The right arm is extended, or perhaps you take the right arm, place the back of the forearm on the lower back, or perhaps you turn the palm of your right hand and gently massage or place your hands over your kidney area. Water is fluid, soft and yielding. But water will wear away rock, which is rigid and cannot yield. As a rule, whatever is fluid, soft and yielding, will overcome whatever is rigid and hard. This is another paradox. What is soft is strong. What is soft is strong. Latsu. So this quality of water, the ability to wear away mountains. And when you're ready, my friends, let's bring that right arm back down to the earth. Inhale, rise up. Lift both arms up to the moon. And then let's release the hands. From here, my friends, we're going to come into butterfly pose, Mandakasana. So come onto one hip and then open the knees and bring the soles of the feet together. So remember here, we've got the base of the foot, the sole of the foot, at which the kidney meridian starts. So you can give it a little massage here. And remember, the outer edge of the foot and the little toe is where the bladder meridian ends. So the base and the inner arch for the kidney and the outer edge and the little toe for the bladder meridian. And you can even massage all the way along the inner leg, tracing the shin bone here, that soft area on the inside of the shin bone. Maybe the back of the knees, back of the thighs here. So an opportunity to have a little massage for the areas around the legs, the medial aspect of the legs and the posterior aspect. When you're sort of had enough of a massage to your satisfaction, let's hinge and fold forward here. So the fullness of the moon, and then exhale, fold forward here. Now you can keep your hands on top of your feet, or you can thread your arms underneath your legs to come into more of a tortoise. Kurmakasana. So again, this idea of the emotions that are held deep within, and this full moon's invitation to allow these emotions to be freed. If we try to contain or box our emotions in, there will be seepage and leakage. So let's find ways of releasing and expressing those emotions that is compassionate to ourselves and compassionate to others, so that we can find a way of processing our own emotions, assimilating them, dreaming into them. I mean, the vivid dreams that I've had leading up to this full moon have been so powerfully intense, and a strong calling to express those deep unconscious feelings and thoughts. If we don't speak them, we dream them. If we don't acknowledge them, they will rise to the surface nevertheless. If you wish here, remembering your forward folds is always an invitation to place blocks or cushions or bolsters so that you can rest your eyebrow center, my friends. And here, a couple of cushions will do the job very beautifully in terms of providing support. Om Som Somaya Namaha, drawing upon the creativity, the radiance, the illumination of this full moon in Cancer to remind us of home, of where our heart is, with whom our heart is. What creates that sense of home for us, our loved ones, our friends, our family. Three more breaths here in Kurmakasana or Mandakasana, depending on whether your arms are underneath your legs or above your legs. And then let's tuck the chin and unfurl the spine one vertebra at a time, and then release the chin last. So now as we rise up here, we're going to move into Straddle or Dragonfly Pose, various names, or Upvishta-konasana, as I prefer to call it. Upvishta-konasana, Dragonfly Pose. So let's take our legs out wide, create a V shape here. Now, for support, this is one of my least favorite poses, as you'll know. I'll mention this. It won't be the first time I mention this. Place your cushions underneath your knees for support, if you wish. You don't have to have this support, but I love to have this support underneath my knees. You can immediately feel the stimulation here in the inner groin and the inner leg here. So we're really particularly working with the inner leg, and this is the kidney meridian. So here, the base all the way along into the groin, and then up primary pathway up through the abdomen, and the secondary pathway up through the kidneys itself. Now we're going to fold forward, my friends. So this is where you can use a bolster. You can create a little bridge. You can create a stack of, so your option would be you could create a little stack of blocks and then rest your eyebrow center up here. You might need to hold the blocks in place here if they're in order, so you don't worry about them falling. That brings them up quite high. I like to create a bridge. So you might take out your bolster here. So create yourself a nice steady bridge. And then fold forward and again rest your head on a bolster. Or the option is to fold forward here without resting your head on anything, simply holding your head forward and allowing it to sort of fold at the neck. And so you come into a little sort of mini dangle here. Remember, we're working along the back line and the midline here today. And these, as you might notice, a lot of the asana that we are adopting today It's a real withdrawal. There's an inward turning, introspective aspect to the asana that we're using today. And it's so that we can quieten down any external noise, the distractions in the environment, so that we can draw in and feel and tune in and sense and listen to and attend to those deep emotions, thoughts, and feelings that we have, so that we may see them and feel them and acknowledge them, and then bring to the surface that which will be useful and that which is of service for us to share, or for that which helps us to understand ourselves better, so that we may be grateful, we may be inspired, we may surrender to the calling of our own self, the heart, which is our home. Here in your forward folding of Straddle or Dragonfly or Upavista, Konasana, as you wish. Remember, you can create any sort of stack that will help you rest your eyebrow center as close to the earth or as high up from the earth as you wish, my friends. And when you're ready to rise up, inhale and uncurl your spine one vertebrae at a time to come up to seated here. Let's remove our cushions. Keep them quite handy because you need them again. And then with helping hands, bring in the legs here. And just draw them in here. You can definitely feel it on the insides of your thighs here. So sort of gentle windshield wipers one way than the other. And from here, my friends, we're going to move into Sphinx Pose or Salamba Bhujangasana. And we're going to come onto our abdomens here. So again, what I want to do is bring a little bit of support. So if you have a folded blanket, you can place the blanket underneath you and just roll up the blanket a little bit so you can see I've only created, if I show you this way, you'll be able to see it's not much of a depth. So it's probably a cushion width. And we're going to place that when we lie down just under our ribs so that it's supporting where our ribs meet. And then when you're ready, let's come down onto our abdomens, extend the legs away from you, and then sort of rest the ribs on your folded or rolled up blanket or your cushion options. It's only a gentle support. And then arms alongside so arms in parallel, fingers spread wide, lifting the crown, lifting the heart and sternum. And here you can feel this immediately is working at the kidneys at the back, and then the bladder at the front. Salamba Bhujangasana, Sphinx Pose. And we'll be here for about 3 minutes. If this feels too intense for your lower back, my friends, you can take your elbows out and you can sort of create a sort of, with your folded hands, create little mushti mudra or little folded fists, and then stack them on top of each other, and then your eyebrow center. And that can give you a little bit more space in your lower back. So it's not quite Makrasana, crocodile, it's just a little bit, so sort of halfway between crocodile pose, Makrasana, and Salamba Bhujangasana, Sphinx. somaya namaha. Here I invite you to visualize the full moon at the back of your heart, or perhaps at the base of your spine, and the cooling light of this moon, silver moon. So, for example, you can have it at your heart space, feeling at the back of the heart space, or perhaps resting at your kidneys, at that lower back. And just visualizing the full moon here in these different parts of the body. We'll bring our awareness here and concentrate the essence of the moon. If during this full moon, as you dive deeper into your emotions and feelings, you experience self-doubt or self-criticism or low self-esteem or self-sabotage or feelings of frustration or procrastination, very crab-like qualities, draw upon the light of the moon to soothe, to nourish, to nurture feelings of growth, of healing, of finding your authentic voice underneath that chatter of negativity, beyond that chatter of negativity. What is the fear? What is the hidden fear that is giving rise to these difficult feelings and challenging feelings that are discomforting and disheartening and demoralizing? So this full moon allows us to acknowledge the hidden fear that lies at the heart of these emotions that may cause us hurt and harm. To trust that we have a home in our bodies, in our minds, in our souls, a place in which we are welcomed, in which we belong, to which we belong. 3 more breaths in Bhujangasana and Salamba Bhujangasana, my friends, in Sphinx Pose. And from here, we're going to walk our hands back underneath our shoulders and rise up into Table Brahmarasana here. And unusually today, we're going to take a few waves through the spine, bringing a little sense of fluidity to the spine. So flow from the tailbone to the crown here and back. A couple of undulations of Madhyasana and Vityasana, gentle and slow. And then let's come into stillness, my friends. And I'm going to come onto our hip and move directly into Paschimottanasana, forward fold or caterpillar. Now, those of you who've been practicing for a while know that I like to encourage you to place something underneath the backs of the knees, whether it's your rolled up blanket, your bolster, large pillow or cushion. And so that when you fold over, you have the support of your thighs and you're resting on your thighs. And this bend in the knees helps to give you a little bit more space for your hamstrings. So we are still working the posterior line, the back line of the body, but we have a little bit more support. So hinge forward into Paschimottanasana. And then allow your crown to feel heavy, your neck to soften. Now, if what you've placed underneath your knees doesn't give you as much support as you would like, then perhaps double it up And remember, you can have it underneath the knees. You can also have it on top of your legs. So you don't have to have, and your forward fold can be, you can rest on your backs of your hands as well. So yin is an journey, it's an exploration of the body, exploration of the subtler edges of the body. And then when you've kind of chosen your most comfortable, which for me is my bolster under my knees, and then let's sort of come into this state of home, this internal landscape here. Visualize yourself in a place that is a sanctuary, a refuge. And it's dark here. Here you have withdrawn into the inner space. This is an opportunity to retreat into a place where you can be tender with the self or with others. That you are intuitively guided towards the care that you can offer and receive. Yield into softness here. Allow the body to surrender here in this forward fold. We've been working on decompressing the spine, compressing the spine, then decompressing it each with that back bend and the forward folds. Acting directly onto the meridians associated with the element of water. The ebb and flow of this moon, both the element and the moon, both the sign and the moon itself, water composition of holding the qualities of water. One more breath here in Paschimottanasana, caterpillar. And as you inhale, begin to unfurl the spine and rise up one vertebrae at a time. And when you've come up, let's remove that bolster from underneath you. You may want to keep it handy or something else. We're going to move into Mandakasana or Becasana, frog pose. So here, my friends, I do always invite you to perhaps take a blanket a little bit wider than your mat, because you're all turned onto the other side of your mat rather than be on it long ways. And take your knees wide as they feel comfortable. And your knees and ankles are aligned here. So we're opening up the inner groin area, the inner hip flexors, and the inner thighs. You may want to use bolster or cushions or blankets and rest your forearms on some blankets or cushions or bolster. And some of us may be quite high up from the earth. Some of us may be a little bit closer to the earth. Gradually, you'll create more space here. It may feel very marginal in the inner hip flexors. So your forearms are on the earth directly or on support. You can interlace your fingers here. You can rest your eyebrow center on the backs of your hands or on whatever support you're using. Frog pose is very intense. So if at any point it begins to feel too intense, bring your knees in a little bit closer to each other, and so that your tailbone lifts up. We want to meet, we want to meet some challenge, but not discomfort to the point where it feels unstable or distracting, or that interferes with the stillness of our practice, the stillness of our thoughts, the stillness of our reflection. Here, we're not trying to churn up the waters necessarily in our practice today. We're trying to bring an element of stillness and calm to the waters. Another thing that sometimes can be useful if you're not comfortable in Bakasana is to use a bolster underneath your groin so that you can use the bolster to support yourself on. But still be mindful that the weight is shifting to your knees so that you're not slumping the weight onto the bolster. The bolster is there as a prop. Keep reaching out with those knees so that you feel the sensation on the inner hip flexors. So there are lots of options, my friends. And don't worry about how you look. Think about how you feel. Tune in to how you feel. Listen, attend, attune to the feelings. Three more breaths here in frog pose, Bakasana or Mandakasana. I've heard that they're both appropriate ways of describing this asana. Water is a strong element. There's strength within this element, and this strength, this resilience, provides the foundations for that which we call home. Yet there's a tenderness, love, and compassion. Soft, what is soft is strong. There's the element, there's the aspect of protection and vulnerability, and there's a balance in that. This full moon in Cancer is a beautiful moon under which we can find this sense of flow in our emotions, our feelings, our intentions. We're going to rise up from Bakasana here. So let's move with tender care here. So leaving your forearms on the earth, begin to walk your knees in slowly and all the way in. And then let's sit back in child's pose here. And this immediate closing of the legs will feel really wonderful from that openness. So there's the balance here. And my dear friends, from here we're going to come up towards the end of our practice. So I think here what we'll do is come into rotation, prone rotation. So take your, if you have your bolsters available, that's great. Have your bolsters or your large pillows. Rise up from your Balasana and bring the right hip against your pillow or your bolster. So if you don't have a bolster, you can just line up some pillows here. If you don't want to, you can come directly to the earth, your choice, my friend. So let's see if I've used mine. So show you that this is practice that we can do with whatever we have at the home. So legs are in a zigzag here. The right hip is nearest your support that you're going to turn onto, or the side that you're going to fold over to. Right shin is parallel to one edge of the mat, left shin parallel to the other edge of the mat. Your legs are in a zigzag. Turn over your area of the mat or your cushions that you're going to fold over. And then exhale to release down. And here, my friends, I'm going to invite you today to stay on the right ear rather than create a double twist in the spine. You can be directly on the earth itself here, or on some sort of cushioning. Mandakasana, deer rotation pose. And so here with this rotation, you are working into the kidneys here. The sense of releasing and letting go. So you create space. So the purpose of everything rising up here, emotionally rising up, is so that what is supportive can be retained and treasured, and what is no longer needed or is not helpful for you can be released and flushed away. And this is a time when you can turn to others, call for support, surrender to the gifts of friendship, of love. You can tell this is one of my favorite periods, favorite moons. It suits my character very well. Let's have one more minute here in rotation to the right. And then when you're ready, my friends, inhale to rise up. And coming back to center here. And when you're here, let's just rub both our feet a little bit, especially the center of the sole of the foot, the arch, the inner arch, the little toe side of the foot. And then let's turn on our sit bones and bring the left hip towards the area over which we're going to fold. So if we have our cushions already set up, let's have the left hip near them. So, and excuse my back towards you. One shin, the right leg shin is parallel to one edge of the mat, and the left shin is parallel to the other edge of the mat. So for me, it's the long and short edge of the mat here. And then turn the heart over your cushions and exhale to fold down. And surrender here. And keep that left here rather than coming into that double twist that we sometimes do here, because I want this sense of real ease, for you to meet the sense of ease here. I'm going to read this wisdom from that. So again, water is fluid, soft and yielding. But water will wear away rock, which is rigid and cannot yield. As a rule, whatever is fluid, soft and yielding will overcome whatever is rigid and hard. This is another paradox. What is soft is strong. What is soft is strong. There's strength in caring, in nurturing, in nourishing, in healing, in finding connection through love and compassion. This full moon in Cancer is a moon of feeling, of healing. And when you have taken another minute here, my friends, in which you yield here, the softness of your body yielding to the firmness of the earth here. Inhaling, my friends, rising up from Mandakasana. And again, as you turn your abdomen square with your hips, massage your feet. And if you keep some oils handy, that's always a very welcome pleasure. And now, my friends, as we close our practice, I'm going to invite you to come into Shavasana. So put on the layers that you wish to have. Put on some socks or a warm jumper. Cover yourself with a blanket. Perhaps you find an eye pillow. I invite you to take Shavasana for 5 to 10 minutes, or longer should you choose. Set your timer with a beautiful tinkling chimes at the end of it, so it's settling for the nervous system when you rouse yourself out of your Shavasana. Should you fall asleep, and that's an invitation for you if you wish. Remember, when you are ready to rise from Shavasana, to move slowly and mindfully with tender care into Sukhasana. And then closing your practice by chanting Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Settle here into your Shavasana, softening, surrendering, and yielding. Maybe you turn the lights down low. With love and respect, my friends, to you, your families, your loved ones, your home. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Som Somaye Namaha. Dhanyavad.